and welcome to the KILI Storytelling Hour. My name is Brian Charging Cloud, and as usual I have Dennis here, but he will introduce himself later. And I want to welcome all you listeners out there. And this evening I have one short story, and then always we will talk about the Lakota language, and maybe I think Dennis has something in his bag, so we will talk about that. So have a real good evening, have a safe trip home, and once again I want to thank KILI Radio for this hour. Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. we are up here talking about stories, about the Lakota language, in both our language and our second language. Shatona narop na kabhena kele makhvia khat pe me chale chion kat. Hibna ha ke we choya ken ha. Hunkan kanaish na kundakon oya. Kono lechta ke oya kom tetla chabla ha chae. Le chizimit khag un oblak na kun le waji inupa ke yapi inupa un hablan tveka sei un lehan he un na kun ivon kolakot. Another time kapon na bilachtat kelel oashte jacket. Anas na kui nab khan ha tioks na takukul hitan is na kuntaku apiakyat. To na hela iwobulu ki ha tarne wayaki hibiktish. Na le na kun elektronisch na lil hekta ko ha Toskawa malili na wogla kon khalila wash agmi. Another of the nakahet ya lila ikhtat kile washteo hayo. And when a tiwahe wa nana ke wa hokhpe wa lo hayo wana tiwahe cha washteo lila on washteo tokshale oiglakin kitalo.
Brian, and all the KILI listeners out there. I'm Pechu Washtielo, Dennis Ghost, Machiapielo, Oyuchpe, Imataha Yellow. I want to thank KILI Radio and Brian for having me on the air. It's always nice to have your voice heard, especially by the Lakota Nation. The more that I'm learning the Lakota language, the more that I feel in tune, being Lakota, being Oglala, more importantly. And today we had our midterm exams. I'm taking Lakota 1 with Karen White Butterfly at Chompeopi College Center there, and we had our midterm exam today, and it felt so good getting in front of the class and speaking Lakota. As elementary as it may be, our guttural sounds, glottal, nasalized vowels, is that I feel so much better explaining who I am, and my kinship and where I come from. It sounds so much better in Lakota than it does English for some strange reason. I don't know what it is, but today was a highlight for me. I've been here for 6 months. I'm still learning about the culture. I'm learning every day, but today was just such a highlight for me, getting in front of a group and actually speaking my language, my Lakota language. My pride, kind of went through the roof. And today, I got that feeling that, I'm just right on the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that I can learn. But I'd like to thank Karen and my classmates out there that I'm taking the class with. That this is just awesome. I mean, absolutely awesome. Especially to set up here with Peter Hill and yourself, Brian, last week, and to hear those words being spoken. It's just awesome. There's no other way to describe it. I still look on in envy every time I see two individuals speaking Lakota. It's just absolutely awesome knowing that one day that I'll be in your guys' shoes. That's to me, that's the best part. I was truly touched today. Just speaking even a small part of it. Knowing my numbers and colors and things like that. Just absolutely awesome. 6 months ago, I would have never believed that I would be in this position. On the radio, talking about the Lakota language, reading it, understanding it. All of that is ahead of me, and it just gives me a little bit more drive to learn every day, every single day. Because nobody can actually get it perfect, but as long as you continue learning, throughout your whole life, your language, your culture, everything around you, I can feel myself getting stronger. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. And I once again, I can't thank Karen, White Butterfly. I can't thank you enough. In fact, today, I described, our kinship terms. I went through, my mother, my daughter, my grandparents, my cousin Frank Ghost, if he's out there listening, my cousin Denise Ghost, if she's out there listening, and Milekshi Waiki Brian Charging Cloud, Yachiapi Yellow, Mitui Waiki Karen White Butterfly. You guys are my aunt and my uncle. And it's just not about teaching me the language or the culture or anything, but taking me into your home, treating me like Naha Tahashi Waiki Rich Na Nick Charging Cloud. That to me is special. To form relations like that. That's all part of our. They go back to our 7 sacred rights, Hunka. I really, in so many ways, feel blessed and feel special by, the whole Lakota Oyate for taking me in, and teaching me all these, about our culture, about our language. Just it's absolutely awesome. So I'd like to send a heartfelt thank you to everyone out there that to helping me. This is we call it Oichi Mane Kaji, a life's journey. And I was talking to the kids about that you may have some setbacks, some successes, but to keep it on an even keel or an even plane, that you can't let things get you down. As bad as they are, you can't let things get you down, because there's always something good right around the corner. And that something good for me is the Lakota language and the Lakota culture. Absolutely awesome. And like I said, every day I feel so much better with the knowledge that I'm gaining. But yeah, I'd like to thank you guys. A heartfelt thanks, to Brian and Karen and Rich and Nick, for taking me in, and Ryan. So, once again, I'd like to thank you guys very much.
Belong Yapalo. Well, getting back to the learning the Lakota language. On this show, I don't know how many years we have been coming up here right now. I have it on my computer. And I was looking at it yesterday, last night, and my other Toshka, he emailed me a site. There's somebody out there that I can't remember his name, but they record every program that we have here, the storytelling. And on these shows, we always say persevere and commitment.
Yes.
And those two will go a long ways with you in learning the Lakota language.
Yes.
And also on the other side of that will be that'll be for both of us. And then my side will be the motivation part.
Right.
And have it and teach. Remember one time we came up here and we said, teach with humor.
Yes.
And teach with a good, happy mind, and also tie yourself to this commitment. It don't mean that you're going to tie yourself with a rope. But,
right.
but with those tools in hand, you're going to go a long ways in learning the Lakota language. And I'm really glad you're doing this. And just keep doing it and
persevere,
and pretty soon you're going to be standing in front of that class and say,
right.
That means I know who I am, and where I come from. You know, I heard this, I think it was on TV or on the radio. This happened in California, in the city of Los Angeles. They were interviewing this one person. I think he was like maybe a Latino or maybe one of those indigenous people, I will say, over there. And they asked him, do you know where you come from, and do you know who you are? And he stood there for a while and he said, you mean here in Los Angeles? So maybe in Los Angeles there's a lot of people that really don't know where they come from, because they probably come from all over. Sometimes they don't know where they come from, they don't know who they are. So I guess I'm just using that, and for like you and I, we know who we are. We know where we come from. And that really helps too. And I was just telling that to some boys this afternoon, and it's really important. The other one is we were talking about midterm exam, and I'm really glad that all these Lakota language classes are making this progress, and that the students are learning. Students are doing the homework and learning, even if they just learn maybe one sentence. Like, remember you were saying, "Doki alawo," where are you going? Or "Donik tu kahuo," how are you?
How are you?
Things like this. Those little thoughts add up, and someday you're going to tie all those together. And then that little word "na" or "naha," like that. Those little things, as you learn the Lakota language, you'll put those in there, and it becomes a thought. And,
yes.
And then after that, you're going to work on. There's good Lakota and there's bad Lakota, but with that perseverance, you're going to get to that good Lakota. And Lakota language is always a learning. For me, I learn something every day.
Every day.
Yeah, I hear people like I have some Tahashi, and I learn from them.
Yep.
They use maybe a word that we don't use for a long time, or I learn how they put their thoughts together, and we learn from that. And also, like these programs, when we speak Lakota, they listen to it, and then maybe they pick up one word and just learn that word, and how that word is used in their Lakota thought, because we have Lakota thought, and then we have the second language thought. So sometimes the second language thought is reversed. The way we talk, when they translate it, it's reversed. So one is, we always hear that one, there's a square brain and there's a round brain. Right. So how do we get them together?
Right, exactly.
We're round brain and the other one is square brain.
Square brain, left.
So right now we're trying to get into that square brain.
Yep.
When we have both of them right now.
Yes.
And we're living these two cultures. I think we mentioned that the other day. So keep just, for all you listeners out there, and be like Dennis and just persevere and be committed and speak Lakota. And so this evening, lila ta le chumhi na le Lakota api kile ewong laka bash. Ona tua ilawa chihanta na tua un spe chihanta. Tokhash ne Lakota okihi. Ona le nako le Lakota api kile anagopta kahin Buenas woe waji na no pa ya menu speech china. Olena ichi pasi singta. Olata Lakota wogalaken haka lila ta Lakoting. Les Michel Lakota wakash watons na mithaje ke lila hash ash na hewe. Nis ognas na ko woe waji ohine mukesa. Otalam to han wagalak hata ita lakes nat onyak wagalak. Ocha wastelo. Aha. Ocha waste leta wagalak. I have one little story here. We're going to do that, and then it's a real short story, and there's I was trying to look at it, and when we tell stories, there's a lesson. So let's, do you want to do the English version? Because someday you're going to do the Lakota version.
Yeah.
And that's just over the hill now.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And this woyak is called, and this is, I'm going to, I hope he's listening, Baha. Remember he mentioned this the other day, and he asked me about it, and I found it last night, so we're going to tell it. It's a short story, and Baha, if you're listening, take some notes.
Exactly.
So I'll do it in my language first.
Okay.
Or do you want to do it in English? And then
in Lakota first.
Okay. Woyake. Chasakala. Obnicha. Peta. Apelo le woyake. Ihani peta. Enaha obnicha. Na chasakala. Hinakcha chankua ogana hiyapi. Iokpia dai hata wogalagmani bi. Chahan wakpala wa el ihoni bi. Wang najiham. Dokeshke iweha pikta yukcha najihapi. Yukhan chasakala ki heyapi. Wakpala opta imuking tacha amali iwega poe. Tokahaya omnicha amali yoe. Kunahal toksha heta hakala hiukteloe. Omnicha tokahaya ali opta hiu. Nahal heta. Ata wanacha sakala ali opta hiu jahan Hetacha sakalaki u ileacha mini ohichpapi. Nabheta kasni yaya. Mini chalila ichat innaha nabhopa keapi. Hetchetu.
A long time ago, a fire, bean, and stick were going down the road. They came across the creek, so they were trying to figure out how they were going to cross that creek. So the stick said, well, I will lie across the creek, and the bean can walk over me first, and then fire can walk over me next. So he lay down across the creek, and the bean started to walk across, then fire came. And as fire came, he just burned the stick up, and they both fell in the creek. The fire went out, so the bean got a big kick out of it, and he just laughed, and pretty soon he burst.
That's the end of the story.
And that's the end of the story.
So what did we learn from this?
The first thing I get out of this is watch out who you hang out with.
Yeah. Don't hang out with that fire.
Don't hang out with the fire.
Or the bean.
Right, or the bean.
And well, the fire knew that when he stepped on that stick, since it's a fire, the stick's going to catch on fire. But he did anyway.
Right.
And the stick too, he should have thought about that before he laid across that creek.
Right.
So before you do something, think first.
Have a better laid out plan.
Yeah. So like they always say, there's one or two, or like when we read these stories, you sit there and think about it. Okay, what if this was told 100 years ago in a Chihuahua along the creek somewhere in the Lakota life, Lakota way, and it does, like, this is what they do to teach their children. And the other one is how we live. We live our, I think I always say virtues.
Right.
And we don't tell them and say, you live like this is respect, this is generosity. But I live like that, they watch me, and then they learn that.
And they learn that.
Yeah. So that's how it was many, many, many years ago. Today is different.
Right.
Today we try to figure out how to do the best methodology.
Yes.
Like sometimes we stand there and talk, and these children won't listen.
Won't listen. But on the other hand, there's some that will listen.
Yeah.
And my hope is that if you can get that one child that will listen, that will become a leader and set the example for the others to follow. That's my hope. So there's good and bad. There's good and bad, and just basically hoping you can set a good example and let the good prevail.
Yeah. Means there's a different way of life.
Yes.
And it's a very fast-moving way of life. And our children have to go through this different way of life, the fast-moving way of life. So it's not like 100 years ago,
No.
50 years ago, when we teach our children orally.
Right.
And today, like, we have this technology too. We see it every day. They look at the computer. They have these iPods. They have these cell phones. You can just talk to each other by just doing texting or just talking. And maybe the method of teaching is different too. Maybe it's better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's so many media outlets now. Radio, video, iPods. You know, it's endless. I mean, you could sit here all night and talk about, you know, how the outside world has changed Lakota values, Lakota virtues. Everything about our people has changed. You know, the only media outlet was an oral story that you know, Kaka told, or like she told, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Just a story like that. You know, I'm not saying it's not happening now, but there's so many other things that the younger kids that they're into. You know, that's times do change.
You know, another thing that I wanted to mention here today. Now we do have a project going where you and I work, and we call it immersion. Now, it's really hard to do this, and sometimes it takes a long time. I mean, my personal experience, what we're doing here is not really immersion right now because we're not there yet, but we're going to get there.
Yep.
Okay. I told a story to the kindergarten class today, and while I was telling the story, I had 2 teachers and 2 parents in there. And before I started the story, I said, "Listen to this story, and at the end, tell me if you heard the same version of this story." So after the class, after I told that story, and then we did some other things, and then after the class was over, I said, "Did you hear the same version?" And right away, one of the parents said, "No, I heard it this way." And then the other teacher didn't say anything, but I think they heard it the other way. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is now is that there's a lot of storytellers out there. And storytelling is, I would say, like anybody can do it, but it's hard. Long time ago, we have storytellers. Today, the storytelling I'm doing it doesn't come from my heart. I look for stories.
Right.
And there's different authors out there, and different old stories. But there's oral stories that we used to tell in our way of life, and some of those are written, but then they're written in that one version.
Right.
And there's many versions of it. So today, I wish we had a lot of money so we can put all those stories into Lakota stories.
Yes.
An author could be Dennis Ghost, author could be all you Lakota teachers, all you people that know stories. But it takes Mazaska to do that.
Yes, it does.
And so right now we don't have them.
We don't have that.
We don't have them written down.
No. And that's the thing.
No.
You know, going into your next subject there. You know, staving off extinction.
Yeah.
That leads right into that. It's something as simple as a story.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying these stories are simple because, you know, I've read probably over 100 stories since I've been here in the 6 months.
Yeah.
And every story you can take 2 or 3 different things from.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that's the thing is, like you said, each story can be catered to what point you're trying to get across. And it would be nice to have, you know, all the different versions of, you know, the fire, bean, and stick. You know, that right there alone, that could be told in 5 or 6 different versions.
Yeah.
But who's, you know, those things are, I'm not saying gone, but
See, this one here, I don't know where I got this from. Every story I do, I usually put the source down.
right.
But this one here, I just put right here, OLC Storytelling 08. So I must have told this 2 years ago. But every story that we do, I always try to tell who told it and what book or
Right.
and that's. But someday we need to do this ourselves, and that someday is now. Right now, we've got to do that.
Yep.
And so we can have every school will have our Lakota stories. Whether it's Pine Ridge or Rosebud, Cheyenne River, Standing Rock, Lower Brew, Crow Creek, all these people.
And I was thinking about that last week too. That the different versions.
Yeah.
From Crow Creek to Standing Rock.
Yeah.
That's quite a it's a big area to cover. That's they're quite a long ways from each other. Even back 100 years ago, that story probably got from Crow Creek to Pine Ridge, one way or another.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it got told maybe 3 or 4 different times between Crow Creek and Pine Ridge. That's 3 or 4 different versions right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's. But we'll keep doing that. We'll keep telling these stories, and then I'm really glad that it's being recorded, so that we will have these on tape somewhere. And right now I have it in my computer, and I'm glad that nephew Baha told me about this. So that's really good, and thank you for all you listeners out there, especially on the KILIradio.org. There's people that are saving these. And someday we will use these. Thank you.
Oh, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, getting back to this other one, the language part. This article came from Indian Country Education Today, and they usually have articles on the language, and this happened to be. On the language, but it could be the Lakota language too. And the title of it is "Staving Off Extinction." And now, on the way up, I was telling Toshka Dennis that sometimes we tend to be negative. We try to stay positive. We try to stay in between. But when it comes to the Lakota language, we need to keep saying that we need to do this, we got to do this, because if we don't, then it just keeps going down. And like people like you who are learning it will help it have the revitalization movement.
Yes.
See, that's why we keep saying that. And we know that all the schools, you and I know, we visited schools. All the schools are doing the best they can. And they have the Lakota teachers, the administrators, whoever works in that language department. Like, remember Little Wound? They're doing a really good job.
Yes.
Red Cloud is doing something. Pine Ridge, all these Crazy Horse, Manderson, Porcupine, all of them. Red Shirt, Rocky Ford, Batesland, Martin. Maybe I forgot somebody out there. But Lone Men. Lone Men used to be long time ago, they used to have immersion there, that school. So we're all doing a really good job. And then, but there's still articles like this. Why is it, maybe it's not enough, maybe this other one is so powerful that we're not really making too much progress. I don't know.
Yeah, there's many ways you could look at that.
Yeah.
That the society outside of this res maybe has such a tight grip.
Yeah, it's
that maybe it's the Lakota language is obviously it's taken a back seat. There's so many excuses why that's going on. Kind of forced on us or forced on our past relations. That I was talking to a guy last 2 weeks ago, And that was one of the first things he said, that there was a time that the Lakota language was basically outlawed.
Yeah.
Was outlawed. Who's to say if the English language was outlawed here? We could turn the tables with that, but enough of the excuses that we have to move forward.
We just have to, like you said, move forward and quit
procrastinating.
And there's a Lakota word for that too.
What is that?
It's called ikchaptakichpungpi. That means we keep repeating the past. We keep rolling around. I think it's ikchaptakichpung. So maybe I come up here and I ikchaptakichpung every show. I don't know. That means I keep saying that we got to do this. This happened to me, and I feel like we said, okay, it's the boarding school, it's this and that.
Right.
So we can be saying this every day, and we're not going to get anywhere. No. But we do have to remember that that's history. It's been done. It's there. We know.
Yeah.
But maybe we shouldn't be saying it every day. We should be saying, let's do something like maybe tell stories in Lakota and in the second language. Maybe we should be going into total immersion in some classes, like the little children.
Right.
Like here, I'll read a statement here from this staving off the language. Extinction. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, extinction.
Okay. Now here, this is a kind of a different, you might say, avenue of this statement. A lot of tribal schools and programs will say, don't do immersion because our kids need to know reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now that's true, right?
Very true.
What they fail to realize is they can do all of that in their tribal language. Now I don't know about that, but that's a big statement right there. Okay. The thing that I always think is that we can do immersion, but we still have to teach reading, because we have children out there that need reading. We have children out there that need the math, and we have children out there that need the writing.
That to me, so just that statement is like a catch-22.
Yeah.
It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's really what I get out of that. But that's very powerful in there. That says reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I hate to say this, but we live in contemporary society where English is the main language.
Yeah.
So it's a very powerful statement. In a perfect world, everybody here would be bilingual. Speak English, speak Lakota.
Yeah.
But that's just not.
Well, here's another statement. Let's think about this. Okay, this is Ojibwe language. Okay, at Ojibwe language immersion schools, 100% of children have passed their tests in English and math, when no teacher has ever spoken a word of English to them.
That's wonderful. I don't know how it happened, but that's wonderful.
How much do you learn, like when you grow up, how much math do you learn just by growing up and getting the proper parenting, proper
Rearing?
telling you, okay, what is this, 2 plus 2, what is division, mathematics, and all this. Like the children, they up to 3, 4 years old, they learn natural.
Yes.
They learn how to speak, but somebody has to
Help them.
guide them, nurture them. So this kind of statement, it's good for the immersion. If we can do immersion and they can still learn this math,
Yes.
the reading, and the writing. So right now we find ourselves in that situation. But we still need to do a lot of Lakota language, and that can be done.
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
By far.
And when you start young, you can get a real good head start.
Head start.
A running start. I'm not saying that we shouldn't teach the 6th graders or 5th graders, but we still need to teach them too.
Yeah. You know,
or
that's
the
thing,
college students. Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day, was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. If, say, in the 7th grade classroom or the 6th grade classroom, you have 10 kids, 10 students.
Mm-hmm.
It'd even be nice, because you have to play percentages and everything you do. If you can get 4 out of the 10,
mm-hmm.
To fluently speak Lakota, to me that's a victory.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could end up like me, being kind of envious of walking into a conversation, not knowing what's being said.
Yeah.
That's how I am. Is that I want to know. I just want to know. And if you can get 4 out of 10 kids, that's absolutely perfect.
Tale Lakota piwan lelcha ke iwogla kahana. Dokish ke chunk upon kain le wakajak le na Lakota. Takuku lehan cute happy. Na wani to tona wana le na wo chunk ha. Youth home copy. Le Lakota pinana ko mashitya. Na kawana watoha honi na ha. יש אתה אוהיnya Lakota mata le yotash le wani to yamening lena topa zapta kelena ona ha takuku hel na kushet ya kinkte ona le wa prepre es na ko ikhantroya ona takomni optum hiut takomni lena tohan taki yanke hoyas Lakota pikile ngulukini pikte hanta takomni lena tokish ke chunk pon khalena oko anji ogonokia nish ohom ni menukia on hechna khanja klena le wiu trapina waya piklena hechna yoha Lakota ocho shechelometa pias takomni ya pikilecha tokata ka wani to tonna galhaw yank te ki hecha lehan lila uyu chansteste kahapelo. Also that is absolutely right. What sometimes we hear this is a good article, and it's going to be tough, it's going to be hard, there's going to be barriers. I said that in Lakota language, but we must walk through these barriers and still make sure that our children know this culture we're living in now. In this culture we're living in now, you must know reading, you must know math.
Yep.
And it can be done. But it takes, not one person can do it. It takes a lot of people, there's one word that we always say, they used to do this long time ago, and I think you was reading a book one time, okichapi, that helping each other, like that. And ihakichiktapi, that means don't ever leave nobody behind.
Right.
And then they're strong when they do that. Any other negative comments?
No. I would just like to say, Itasha, our leader out there at Chakwayopi, Barb Huska, she's doing a great job.
Yes.
She's doing a great job in the absence of Marnie White Wolf, who I hope gets better. we need her back at the school. But yeah, once again, I just want to, if Barb's out there listening, that I want to tell her that she's doing a great job. Other than that, everything is going good. So
yeah, that's. I'm glad you mentioned that, because our principal's been in and out of the hospital for the last 2 weeks, and we have Barb. He mentioned Barb. She's been there for a long time, and she's doing a really good job.
yes,
And, all the teachers, I think, are working together. Like we said, when you work together, you're strong. And also, we want to say good evening to all the schools on this reservation. They really have a good thing going, and it's called the Trecha Wachipio Kolakichie, and also the Bigfoot Conference. And also, right now, the basketball season is around the corner, and Mr. Tom Crash Casey will be on the road. He will be announcing all the games, play-by-play. He remembers all the names of basketball players 10 years ago, or I can't even do that. I can't even remember last week. I don't know how he does it, but so and then we have some really good teams like Pine Ridge, Red Cloud, Little Moon. They're going to be up there. They're going to be tough. And White River, of course. But and then we have Cheyenne, Eagle View, Standing Rock, and Todd County, Custer. Yeah. So it's going to be a good season, an exciting season. And then you're teaching Hampa Prechumpi, the hand games. That's going to be at L&I too.
Yes.
That game is Hampa Prechumpi is a Lakota game, and a long time ago they used to do that in the small communities.
Yep.
Every Friday night they used to do that to bring people together. And like a long time ago, maybe some people have bad feelings sometimes, but Friday night they all go in there and they all play hand game, and they laugh and shake hands, and somebody wins and somebody loses.
Right.
So that's sportsmanship. They all shake hands. Monday morning they'll go at it again.
We're Techiwachipiokolikichie is at American Horse next week. Next week. So we're I'm looking forward to to some of the people that I've met through Techiwachipiokolikichie. That great people. They're always willing to listen. To teach. It's what a great organization. Absolutely, it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So
and that organization really brings the cultural, the wachipi, the singing, the
pride.
Yeah,
absolute pride.
Yep.
Great job. So
all you listeners out there, you're listening to the KILI Storytelling Hour on 90.1 right here on the Butte, and 88.7 in Rapid City, KILIradio.org, all over this world. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.